Hey, welcome back. Chatterbox Clicker Tuesday night, man. Love being with y'all. Lost my voice a little bit today. Had a very enthusiastic practice on my end with the team I'm currently working with. But one of the things I'm kind of going through the same thing the Bengals are going through. I had a little bit of a butt whipping this past Friday night, but it was to the number one team in the state of Louisiana, and that's no excuse. But you got to find ways to get better and come back from it, and that's kind of what the Bengals are having to do moving forward this week. And man, I hope that I can bring something to you tonight to give you some hope and some excitement going forward. Like my man Bengals captain says, Jeremy Conley, I'm your Dr. Feelgood tonight. So here we go. Let's get started now. The Bengals had another rough outing. Obviously, 27-3 is not something you really want to happen. But really, I mean, if you look at it, Joe Burrow's still hurt. Now, is that an excuse anymore? I'm going to kind of show you some things tonight. I don't know how much of an excuse that is anymore because the guy's gone out and played and he's moving around. It's not like he's limping. I do think that there are some points where he's not pushing off of his leg like he normally does, and he kind of can't get out of some protection issues. But really, I just think that there's some other issues going on with every time they try to push the ball down the field. And I know people have talked about Chase wanting the ball and wanting some deeper throws. Well, they've tried. I'll show you that they have tried. They've tried to push the ball down the field. Every time they push the ball down the field, he's sacked or he gets hit. And it's just not the point where he can scramble around like he's done in the past. And I think that's where the biggest issue is right now is being able to push the ball down the field. Sometimes you have to run out of the pocket to be able to scramble and push and put that ball to your check downs and scramble drills. That's one thing that's missing this year is scramble drills. Think about all the scramble drills that happened in the past few years and the broken plays that turned into big plays. It's not him running the ball. It's him breaking the pocket, scrambling, and then going making a play to one of the receivers, and it's usually a big play, and everybody's seen that. Burrow, 20 of 30, 165 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 3 sacks, 14.3 quarterback rating. I don't really know what that means. It just doesn't sound good. He had 139 passing yards if you take the sack yardage away, so they had 139 yards passing. Mixon, on the other hand, had 14 carries for 64 yards. That's a 4.8 average. I think anybody in the National Football League would take a 4.8 average. If you're over 4.5, you're doing pretty well for yourself, and there's not a lot of guys that are up above that. He had 72 total rushing yards. I'm sorry, the Bengals had 72 total rushing yards, which isn't that great. I think the stat that stands out, they had 3 points, and they had 211 total yards of offense. I think I've seen the Bengals in a quarter go for 211 yards and about 21 points at one point. So there are some things that need to get fixed. Now the thing about the defense gave up 173 yards on the ground. Now Derrick Henry kind of came back. Derrick Henry had 122 yards and a 5.5 yard average. He was not. I don't know if he had 122 yards on the season going into this game, and he looked like the Derrick Henry of old. And one of the things that Derrick Henry is he is a very large, strong man that you have to when you tackle him, you have to wrap up. It has to be a fundamental tackle, and usually it takes somebody else to come knock him down once you have him wrapped up. He's not really a one-man tackle kind of guy. Crazy thing is, he threw for more touchdowns than Joe Burrow in this game. So it's a stat, kind of a random stat, but there you go. Defensively, I'll show you here in just a minute. We're about to get into the defense. Just out of position at times in the pass game. Man coverage at times when they lost them because of the play actions. There was one that they were rolling to cover 2, and the corner had his back turned, and it was just a little bit odd that the way that they called the play, it just was a perfect storm of how the corner had his back turned. So we'll get into that. And then obviously talking about Derrick Henry, they got to be able to stop the run. And one of the things I think they're going to be facing in this next week, they're going to be facing a running team with James Conner and Dobbs and those guys. There's going to be a running effect in this next game, and they've got to get that really kind of taken care of. So let's move on, and we'll start with the defense. Okay, so I've got these grouped together tonight, so hopefully it's a kind of an easier way to look at it and see everything kind of put together and not just game order, because game order is one thing, But if you group it all together, you're going to see some things that are some issues that I think as a coach, we don't watch the game in game order except for one time. You watch it on Monday morning in game order maybe one time. Other than that, you really watch it in a cut-up mode. You break it down. And so I do want to point this out. This is a play that doesn't, the Bengals over time have got, now I know they got a bad call in the Super Bowl. I get it. But the last few years, they've been getting a lot of calls going their way. Now, one of the things that they didn't get in this, and I'll show you this from the end zone. And again, this is an incomplete pass. I get it. It's an incomplete pass. It's fine. But what you'll see is Josh Tupou, and Josh Tupou's a very large man. Josh Tupou was on the team when I was there. So, but if you'll watch here, this is that's a hold right there. That his feet are beat. So the whole definition of a hold penalty. So a lot of times you could say this guy's holding, but his feet aren't beat. He's not beaten by his feet. His feet aren't beat right there. This guy's feet are beat. He's going this way and he's behind the play. So when you say a holding penalty, he's actually, you can see he's grabbing and turning right there. And that is a hold. That is a hold 100,000 times out of 100,000 times. But apparently they didn't think so much of it in this game. And, if y'all want to get mad, y'all want to get mad at people and start blaming people for holding penalties. There's a guy at the top of the screen up here. I'll show you. You see that dude right there? He's really supposed to call it. So y'all can call this guy. I don't know his number, but I'm sure he would love to hear from you. I'm sure he heard it from a few people that day, probably on the Bengals sideline. But again, excuse me, missed call there. So these are the run game breakdowns in the defense. Okay, so I got 5 plays here. First play right here in the run game breakdown here is more or less it's blocked. It's a toss play that's blocked very well. No one gets off the blocks, and one gap is covered up. And really, it's just a good play by Dax Hill. You'll see it here, come in motion. They're really running like boss play. And when I say a boss, it's back on strong safety, which there's no back, but that second tight end, they're really working up, and you got an extra guy here. So everybody's got good angles, and they toss it, and they're trying to get the edge here if they can. But right here, you can see that they get everybody there. Now, that is a good form tackle by Dax Hill right there. And you'll see from this angle right here, when this guy comes over, he's actually blocking the corner. These two are blocking these two. These two are blocking these two. And then really, I mean, you've got angles for everybody else. It's a well-blocked play. They've got it schemed up, the Titans do. And you've got everybody blocked, and he ends up hitting this gap right here. But the deep safety, now what we tell running backs, and this is just what we tell running backs on a daily basis, is this. If we can get you on the deep safety, we will win. It's your job to beat the deep safety. And the fact that 23 right here, that's not the greatest position you want to be in, but he wraps him up and he brings him down, and that's kind of that roll tackle. It's not the hip drop that everybody's talking about. That's a roll tackle, and that's a very fundamentally well done job by 23. But again, everybody's got. I mean, they had everybody blocked. They had the scheme for it. So that's what the Bengals have got to be thinking about, is how are they going to? People are going to start putting that type of offense in and scheming them up, because they feel like they can. Have numbers on them. Now, as we're looking at, sorry, got to get the telestrator here. Telestrator needs a sponsor. If the telestrator had a sponsor, I tell you what, the telestrator had a sponsor, it'd work a lot better than this. So we're 10-3. We're in the second quarter. All right, this is a crack toss and the fumbled pitch. All right, I think everybody, when you watch this play, go, how did they let this happen? Well, here's how it happened. When you toss a play this way, what's 94's job? 94's job is to check the QB and to make sure that no backside, nothing comes back like in a round. His job is to check backside contain. Now, as a player, you see, man, I'm going to go make a tackle. Well, I mean, he fumbles the pitch right here. The ball's on the ground. And the problem is Hubbard just over pursues just a little bit too far underneath, and it allows this over here. And then all of a sudden you got a blocker here. And I think Tannehill ends up coming and blocking down here. And that's where you it's those kind of little things that you don't think about on a regular basis, because really his job is to secure quarterback and any like reverse. Well, he says, okay, well, quarterback doesn't have the ball. I see the ball on the ground. I'm gonna go get the ball. Well, the ball bounced right up to the running back, and next thing you know, it's a massive play. But that's an easy fix. Again, if you want something to look forward to, that's an easy fix right there. That's a big play for the Titans. It's an easy fix, and those are the type of things that the coaching staff's going to look at and say, let's get the fundamental stuff done this week, and then just go about it at that point. Now, this is a split back duo kick out. I don't know however you want to say it, but they're kicking out here. And I'm sorry, put too many lines there. He's kicking out here. These guys are all blocking back, and really Henry's hitting it right here. This was a touchdown. Okay, now, was this a touchdown because the Titans had the perfect play call? No. This was a touchdown because there was some fundamental breakdowns on the defensive side and tackling and angles. So right here, you'll see it from the end zone better, but right here, you've got a guy here, you got a guy here, you got a guy here, you got a guy who's going to fill in here, and you got a guy who can fill in here. You got more than enough guys to stop this play. Right here, you got the safety flying down in there. Well, he flew down in there too far. You got, I believe, is that Jermaine Pratt right there? Hitting him right there. And again, you can't allow, it's one thing to run out of your gap. And again, they had a call here. So he's got that gap. He's got that gap. Really, he's got that gap. He's got this outside gap. Now, when this guy blocks, it creates a gap right there. Now, a lot of times they're going to tell these guys to play over the top or have a safety play into that gap. It looks to me like, you've got a safety here playing in that gap. Well, you got a receiver coming in to block him. Great. And you can see how he tries to play over the top because now he sees where it's going. He gets picked off. And again, there's still that gap right there. And that's just because the receiver came in. And that's how you continue to bring more people to the party, and you create. That's how, when you're creating a run game, anytime you got down blocks or double teams and kickouts and different things, pullers, you're creating new gaps. But right here, you have a missed tackle. You're going to have a missed tackle right here. And again, that guy's too good of a running back to allow you just have to get him on the ground. You got to get more than one body on him. And again, there's nothing other than that. That is a fundamental breakdown right there. That scheme had nothing to do with that. You can blame Lou Anarumo all you want for that. That's players that didn't make the play. And I think there's a video going around of Marvin Lewis right now, and he's talking. It's after one of the games in I believe 2009, and it was during the Hard Knocks thing, and he said, this is your team. One of y'all's got to step up and take control of it and be a pro. There were some choice words in there. But at some point, the players have got to play. The coaches can do what they want to do. Trust me, as a coach, I haven't seen the field in an NFL game in my life. I've played as many snaps of NFL football as my wife has. But I've coached it, and at some point, if you're in the right position, make the play. That's what you're there for. That's what you're getting paid for. Sorry about my rant. Now, gap issues again. So now this one is an actual gap issue. So this is an inside zone toss play. So if you watch this, so they're actually tossing the ball here, and they're bringing like two guys back. Now, what does bringing bodies back to the backside when you're actually running the ball over here do? Well, it keeps these guys. Watch these guys actually kind of flow to, as the defense looks at it, flow to their right. So when the ball's tossed, you would think that they would flow this way because the ball's being tossed over here, but they see body and body going back, and that's what creates this just enough. You see, and then they crack the receiver, so that creates another gap. And then you've got Derrick Henry on safeties and corners, and you'll see this from the back. When Logan Wilson runs out of the box here, it just creates angles. It just creates angles right here because this guy's going back, this guy's going back. He's really blocking here. They're all kind of blocking here, and they're tossing it right here. And it just, you got a guy cracking on 33, and that's a big lane right there for the running back. And again, luckily this wasn't 22, this was 32, and 22 might have gone a little bit further. But again, gap issues, that's where you just kind of get schemed every once in a while. It's going to happen. That's where you got to win your battles. And, there's not a real answer to that. There goes my notifications again. Shoot, I just lost where I was there. Apologize. There we go. Technology issues. Again, so, sponsorship cures a lot of technology issues, and we would love to talk to y'all about that. I think it's a great time to do that. So again, run fit versus a weak side, tight end counter. So this is I'll just show you this from the end zone, because this is kind of a tough play to talk about from the sideline. But they're not pulling a guard, and this is a play where when you don't pull a guard, this is it is a little different for the defense, but usually you pull a guard, kick out, and you bring another tight end around right here, and you double everybody back, and that's what you do. But what they're doing here, they're going to block everybody down, double team here, block him back. They're going to pull him, kick him. They're going to pull him around for this linebacker, and it's just it's a different look. Bam, there. Now, here's what happens is, you see where 57 gets caught up right here, a little bit too tight. Logan Wilson's going to flow over the top, but when the defensive end here, watch the D end, he's going to come and he's going to spill it. What does spilling mean? It means he's going to wrong arm this first puller and cause the next guy to go around. It means you're spilling it. You're spilling everything to the outside. So right here, you'll see how he wrong arms it. Now he's spilling it really to 57. So 57 should be waiting right here. Well, he's not, and then obviously they just kind of, he gets around the edge and that. So those are things, though. Again, you practice those things every day. The run fits, you practice them every day, and I don't know what to tell you other than the fact that just those things have got to get fixed. So that's the run game breakdown. Just I think gap issues, really just kind of just doing what you do and making sure that you tackle. If you got Derrick Henry, you got to have multiple people tackling that guy, and you got to be able to hold him up just long enough to get somebody else to come help you out. I mean, that's the easiest thing to say about that. All right, this is a double pass, and now this 9 out of 10 times, I'm just telling you, 9 out of 10 times, DeAndre Hopkins will make this catch, okay, and Tannehill will land it. I'm going to show you this. This is kind of a cool play because I've got some personal history on this play. So what you're doing is you're showing a toss play going this way. So you're trying to get everybody to, come running over here. But what's going to happen is watch, they're going to roll an O lineman out, and they're going to roll the quarterback back here. So Henry's going to roll it about right there, and he's going to throw it back to the quarterback. And then basically he's got all this room. Look, he's got a ton of room right here, and he's got DeAndre Hopkins running scot-free on basically a beeline is what we used to call it. He'd be on this side, he's beelining it across the field. And, you've got DeAndre Hopkins, and, I can just tell you right now, that's a lucky play for the Bengals because that was a well-designed play. I'm going to show you the reason I feel so strongly about this play, and, just show you a little fun stuff. But this takes a long time. Look, you're hoping that all these guys just keep flowing over here thinking that it's a pass, and that's what they do. And you see here, this tight end blocks this guy long enough because right there, Tannehill's about to get blown up. And then he drops that ball right there, and that hits his hands. I don't know if you can't really see it with the blue of the tee right there, but that hits his hands. Now here's the reason I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna take you on a little flashback right here. Okay, so y'all just got to deal with this. All right, I'm gonna take you on a flashback to 2019, Detroit versus the New York Giants in Ford Field. Coach Caskey was the was the running back coach for those two cats right there. Oh, look, we're going to motion a guy over. We're going to toss it. Oh, we're going to pull a lineman out. We're going to bring the quarterback back. Oh, we're going to throw it back to the quarterback. And, hey, we got a beeline across the field. Oh, but you know what the difference was? Yeah. We completed that. So whatever. I just want to point it out there. You know, every once in a while, Coach Caskey has been a part of some stuff. All right. They're doing some fun stuff. So for all you New York Giants haters out there, Matthew Stafford right there, look, dropping dimes. Kenny Galladay. Little did the New York Giants know that he would go there and not do a whole lot for him. Now, coverage issues. Okay, I'm going to get into these. I have 7 plays. I'm going to go kind of quickly through this. This is a stutter and go route by DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to stutter down here and then go. And again, you can't get caught up in the little movements of a receiver. And again, I haven't been a defensive back coach. I've worked with some receivers, and I've been a part of offenses that have done it. And sometimes if you see that a defensive back will bite just a touch, and you've got an elite receiver like DeAndre Hopkins, you can do this. And you'll see here it's just a little bit of a stutter and go, and he's gone. And again, that's one of those plays that you'll see on film, and you see a corner that has just a touch enough to be able to do it. Now, it takes protection, which I'll get into with the offense here in a little while. But again, that's a stutter and go. So the corners have got to be a little bit more, just hold their water. Now, here's what happened twice, okay? These are not in order here on the twice thing, but they're going to hard play action because obviously they're a big-time run team. But what they're going to do is they're going to block these tight ends, and then one of them is going to take off down the seam once all these guys come up to play run. And that's where, and you'll see it, they actually block for a minute. See, block, and then take off. One takes off here, one takes off here. And it's just there's nothing special about this play other than the fact that you got this big dude back in the back, and you're going to run him, and yeah, block. Yeah, they're going to come play up. I mean, it's just human nature. I'm doing this thing with some people right now. I'm talking about the psychology of sales and fight or flight and all this stuff. And one of the things is like, am I okay? Am I safe? Well, right there, they thought they were safe to go up. So they did it. And it's just a mental thing we have as humans. They thought they were safe. And then all of a sudden, here comes a guy running down the field. And you'll see this show up in a minute. But that's what happens when you use the run game to create big plays in the pass game. It has nothing to do with scheme or anything. It has to do with the fact that you have a run game that's going. Sorry, I'm getting worked up again. You have a run game that's going, and you're trying to get the ball to your players by using just the illusion of run. And that's what play action is, man. It's simple stuff. Now, if you see here, look, they're about to blitz a saw blitz off of this. Now, if this guy were to run a flat from here and this guy was blitzing from here, he would probably do what we call a peel. He would peel off and go cover him. All right, and then if this guy were to run out here, this guy would probably peel off and go cover him. If the back runs out the backfield, blitzers will peel off a lot of times. But they're playing like a quarters coverage and one underneath, and it's really a voided coverage. And what's going to happen is he's going to come running underneath here, and because there aren't any peelers, because they kind of got lost in the mix, that guy right there that was in the middle is trying to go cover him. And all it is just a slide route. It's a naked slide, and it's a simple route right here. It's a very simple route. All it is a naked. He's faking out here and nakeding around, and here comes what most people call a slide. He's sliding around. He's sliding behind the line, and boom, he's there. So again, that's just it's a call they made. They had probably a tendency at that point to say, hey, we got to stop the run on this down and distance. So this is a run call. This is a run blitz right here. They're trying to stop the run. And you can see, even like, watch Hilton right here. When Derrick Henry goes right here, he peels with him. You can actually see him do it here. And it kind of makes my point a little clearer here. You can see it. See how he peels with him? Because that's what they're trying to do. With nobody peeled with him, he blitzed off the edge, but because he came from over here, he got lost. And again, that's part of scheming right there. Now this is a go route. Okay, they're going to run a go here at the bottom. Okay, so they're going to end up in what I call tricky two. So they look like they're in man or cover three. So, it looks like they might be in some form of one high coverage. So you got one guy back here. What they're going to do is, on the snap, they're going to roll him to the half. They're going to roll him to the half, put him out here into the cloud corner area, and then play two up here like normal. And then believe he goes deep and he sits here. So, but what you'll see is when they roll out, they blitz that guy. Okay, there you go. So look, you end up in Tampa 2 is what you're ending up in. There's your Tampa player. There's your other 5 underneath. What happens is, though, is when he starts running here, see how his shoulders are turned and pointed that way? Well, you're running a go route. And there's this thing called the hole here. And when you're in normal cover 2, you got like a guy here and a guy here. There's this voided area in this right there. And because he had his shoulder surgery, see how he's having to turn his hips and run now? Well, that hole just became even deeper back here. So now he's got all this area to work with. And they just happen to hit perfectly into a tricky 2, as I call it. And I think that's actually what Tennessee calls it. The Tennessee runs the same stuff, where you try to look like you're in cover 1 or cover 3, and then boom, you hit that deep hole shot right there. And I believe they gave this catch to him there, and it is what it is. Hey, the NFL, can't question the refs. Now, Wildcat touchdown throw. There's a type of now I do want to point out the Titans actually got to this position right here, and the Bengals called a timeout the play before, and it's not on film because they don't put timeouts on the coach's film. But they lined right back up and said, "Nah, we're going to run the same thing." There's a thing called take coverage, and I don't know if that's what the Bengals call it now or not. But what it does is you see there's a linebacker here, and there's a D end over this tight end right here. They'll play it where that guy will cover him, and that's just normal coverage. But there's what we used to call take, is he would rush off the edge, and that D end would actually cover that tight end. And the way this plays out right here, because of the Wildcat, see, he comes running off the edge. I believe he was supposed to cover, that defensive end was supposed to cover that tight end. And you can see right there, see the reaction of him? I mean, I'm not laughing, Bengals fans, I swear. I'm just laughing at the fact that it's rough here, because like he's rushing off the edge. He really should cover this guy. That's his first, because you can see right here, he's like, oh crap, I better go cover my man back here. And you can see right there, I mean, it just was just enough. But that's what happened on that play. And I think if they would have had, if you look at this play and say, yeah, look, you can even see, watch Pratt right here. Watch him right here. Watch at the end of the play. He actually points at the guy right here. So he's like, dude, come on, man. That's your guy. That's your dude, man. Bam, there you go. So, again, that stuff happens, but again, that's something that can be cleaned up. Now, looking at the play, remember we talked about the play action just a little while ago, and Tannehill, they're going to fake over here, and they're really running a slant here. So he's really faking. He's trying to turn and throw the slant. Well, the slant's not there, but this receiver here is going to block for a second, and he's going to run like a little, not even a corner. It's more like a sail route. So that he's going to block. He's running a slant. Well, the slant's not there, or I guess the guy he must not have known he was running one. I don't know. It looked like it was kind of a delayed slant. Well, he comes back and ends up completing it here. And again, I mean, it takes a good throw to get that off. But when you have that guy, the last I checked, I think the Bengals have a dude that wears that. Am I wrong, chat? If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong if the Bengals don't have that guy. I mean, I'll listen to y'all, and I'll stop talking about it. But when you got a guy who can run, and that's duo, all they're doing is running straight forward, just everybody block everybody. Well, that guy blocked for a second. Well, look, everybody jump up. Well, he runs out here. He runs under here, and there you go. That's how the run game creates easy passes in the pass game. It's not hard. You know what these guys are doing? They're blocking the run without going down the field. That's all they're doing. It's the same blocking scheme. They block the same guys they'd block if we called the run. And then you got the back to, you got Henry there, cleaning up, being a fireman. And I think Tannehill kind of played out of his mind a little bit the other day too. That's probably the best game he's had in a while. Giggle Maggies. Again, I'm not talking to y'all, Bengals fans. Just talking about my Aggies. All right. Now I'm going to end the coverage section on this. This was good coverage. This was really good coverage. So this is they're trying to run a double post from the backside. Now this is max protection. And so what I mean by max protection, they've got 8 blockers here. Well, they didn't fall for it. So you got guys all chasing back here, dropping back here. And it actually worked out for the Bengals here. This was 2nd and 10. And you can see right now they've got 2 guys here. There's your back hanging out over here. And it ended up being an interception. Now, it's 2nd and 10. That's just as good as a punt, to be honest with you. And I think that's where the Titans kind of, they're not going to be mad about it, but they're, right there. I mean, I don't know who he's throwing it to. At that point, I think as a quarterback, you probably just throw it away. Now, to end this on a positive note on the defensive side, the sacks. Okay, so the Bengals are using, you see, I call this a mug. He's walked up into the line, so he's inside the heels of the lineman. So the heels of the lineman are there. He's mugged up in there. That's what a mug is. What does a mug do now? So you have 5 linemen, correct? So right now you've created a 5-down line, basically a look. It creates what people call a 5-0 or big on big or whatever you want to call it. And it makes, I got him. Dang, red wanted to come back out. I was trying to stay away from red. I know I wore halfway of a red shirt, but it's Tiger Woods show. But anyway, they're going 5-on-5. Now what they're going to do here is they're going to do a pick game, and you can see how that works. I'll show you from the end zone. But that's what they do. You set these guys up to say, okay, we're going man on man, and then when you do that, you'll see here, push up, come under, and it creates an issue where they got to pass this off. Now, here's the crazy thing is you would think the guy that's running that interference would open this guy up. It's usually the picker that gets that comes free. Because here's the thing, watch what happens. So BJ Hill pushes up. All of a sudden he's got his butt turned. He's done. Here's what I would tell. I would tell this guy, if I was the running back coach, I would tell him, hey, go help. And I think he did. There he goes. He did help. Good job by him. And I guess that wasn't the running back, that was the center. But either way, you got nobody to help. It's a little bitty center right there. Kind of look like a running back. But that guy's got his butt turned. That guy's beat. That's not a good job of that. But that's a good job by the picker. Boom, you got by. And obviously, Hendrickson just whipped the left tackle's butt right there. Now this is a coverage sack. What's a coverage sack? Everybody's covered, right? So what is that? What does that do to the quarterback? Well, he's got to see how he pulls the ball down. So anytime you hear somebody say, "Hey, I got a coverage sack," that's a way of saying, "Hey, it wasn't necessarily the defensive lineman that got there, but you can see right here, major miscommunication though by the left guard and center." I want you to watch right here. You got 2 guys blocking one. Now watch what happens. They both leave. That's not the smartest thing to do when you got a guy of that stature right there. You don't just leave a dude to go kill your quarterback. So again, it's not only the Bengals that have those issues right there. Just so y'all understand that, I can tell you from experience right now, it's not just the Bengals that have had those things. Now, this is the last one I got on the defense, and we'll move on to the offense. This is a bad snap. It had nothing to do with the defense. Bad snap. Why would the entire defense he's falling on the ball. It's over, right? He's giving himself up. But why is that entire defense sprinting to him? Because they get credit for the sack if they just touch him. All they got to do is touch him. Boom. So who got there? They actually didn't give anybody credit for this. It's kind of funny. In the stats, I don't think they got credit for this one. So they had some sacks, but I don't think they got credit for this one. But again, that's why they were running. They were trying to say, man, I'm going to get this. Kind of like the Brett Favre and Michael Strahan sack. You fall down, you touch them, and, it's just kind of a way that they go about things. But that's the defense. And again, I think you can see the issues. It's nothing that's not correctable. It's just some fundamentals. It's some blocking. It's some, or not blocking, but tackling. It's some getting off blocks. It's making sure that there's gaps taken care of. It's coverage. If you have coverage, cover it. Don't go running up there. But again, that's what a run game does for you. That's how Tennessee can use Derrick Henry to make Tannehill that much better, especially when you got DeAndre Hopkins. Well, the last I checked, the Bengals have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, name it. Oh, they got Joe Mixon behind them too. Yeah. So let's move forward with this. I haven't even looked at I haven't even looked over here at the chat. But if there's anything that's coming up, Casey, please, let me know. Shoot me a message, whatever the case is. We will make sure that they, I'm sorry, Bengals captain. Bengals captain is the guy now. Him and Hube. Apologize for possibly giving up your cover. We can get that taken out. All right, we will pull that out of there. All right, so moving on to the offense. All right, Bengals captain. How much easier? I appreciate you, Bengals captain. Love you. How much easier is it to run to set up the pass when the defense is getting gashed by Henry? Though, did you ever game plan and not just worry about the running back? No, you have to worry about the running back. You have to worry about who you're going against. You have to worry about the style of offense that you're going against. And when you're going against an offense that is Derrick Henry, and it's Derrick Henry, and that's what they're going to do. You have to take advantage. I mean, you have to take that into account, but at the same time, that's what makes it hard on the secondary is the play actions and the nakeds and those kind of things where you have a gap that you're responsible for in the run game, possibly as a safety, but you also have a zone you got to cover or a man you got to cover. And that's where you got to have disciplined eyes. You got to have, just disciplined reaction skills to get through that. And again, that's why they're NFL players, high school players, college players. I mean, they're going to get burned every once in a while. But again, it comes down to you got to make the play. You're at that level for a reason. If the Bengals want to be the team that they think that they can be, then those guys have got to make those plays. So bottom line. All right, moving on to the offense. All right, wide receivers making plays. Okay, everybody wants to talk about the balls not being thrown down the field. And what I'm going to tell you is there's ways to get the ball to your playmakers that can help them get in space. And now I'm going to show you a couple here. Excuse me, I got to take a drink. Had one of those days at practice today, y'all. Ran the board drills. It takes a lot of sit huts, and all that kind of stuff. So, kind of in that mode right now. But what we're going to see here, and I don't know what people call this. This is the Green Bay. Everybody thinks of Green Bay of this. They're going to run a flat here, and then they're going to block here with these two. And you're throwing this because you're saying, okay, the guy covering Chase is way in here. So if these guys will go block, there goes my red again. If these guys will go block and he runs here, he's got to run through all this, So that's kind of the thought process of this. So this is one way to get the ball to Chase. And you can see here, it's really, it's a simple play, but he goes for 17 yards. If the Bengals threw a pass across the middle for 17 yards to Chase, people are going to be like, man, we threw the ball 17 yards to Chase. Okay, this ball went 1 yard. It went for 17. Come on, people. Like, have some sense to you. And, but you can see right here, I want to show you it's kind of, kind of comes into the screen, but look at the blocking by these guys. And again, you're running away from that one guy. That's the one guy I said, that he had to run through all this crap. Look at him. He's having to run through all this. But that blocking sets it up, and then Chase breaks the tackle and, is down the sideline. I mean, he's like a half a step from breaking. Hold on. I guess I'll answer this question right here in the chat. When's Zach Taylor going to do the right thing and relinquish the play calling duties before it's too late? He's the head coach. Understand that. I'm going to tell you this. I was told this many times, many places, and I think people heard Hugh Jackson say it on Hard Knocks. When it's your team, you can do what you want to do. All right. And it's Zach's team. And I mean, he's been the play caller. People might disagree with him. But that's his decision and it's his team. And I know that's not the answer you want to hear. I don't foresee it happening, man. I'm just telling you, it's one of those things where he's been doing it for long enough and they've had success. And, unless somebody upstairs forces the issue and tells them to do it, I don't see it happening. And I don't think anybody should be sitting here, beating their head on the wall, thinking that it's going to happen, and just sit back. Like I said, leave your emotions at the door. Okay. And I think this is something you got to do right now at 1-3, because it's not an easy time to sit here and you want to question everything. But a couple plays go here and there, and a couple of these other games, and you're 2-2 or 3-1, and nobody's saying anything. So all I'm saying is just relax a little bit, let them figure it out. Now, if it's this way in 2 or 3 weeks, yes, then there's cause for alarm with deeper issues. But at this point right now, I'd say just, nothing's going to change right now. I mean, if it does, I'd be shocked. Nothing's going to change. That's my unprofessional or former coach opinion right there, if y'all want to call it that. I hate to give y'all that, but that's my former coach opinion. All right. So this is Boyd on what we call a F seam or a choice route. So what's going to happen is they're running here. I believe he's running here. He's going to kind of run out here and then run like a choice route. So we used to call this a F post, and it's a shallow cross. He's running a basic, and he's just running out here. And then what he's trying to do, this guy 87, what he's trying to do, he's trying to pull this linebacker with him to open up this space right here. And then he's running up here to pull these two guys out of there. And then it leaves Tyler Boyd one-on-one with this guy. And you'll see once I let it play a little bit, see that guy ran with him. There goes my red again. He's one-on-one with this guy, and you say, boom, hit him. Now, again, it's not a sexy play. It's not a sexy play by any means, but it's a play that uses your sorry, I kicked back a play there. Sorry, didn't mean to. It uses your talent on offense in a schematic way. And again, this is something goes to play call, and this is a good play call. Okay. So say what you want, but there's a lot of room in there, and you hit him and you let him go. And, but that's a good play call for what they have here. And, but you can see right here, look at the space. I believe that ball might've gotten tipped too. But again, that right there, y'all want to know why they're not throwing the ball deep? That's why they're not throwing the ball deep. And anybody that wants to question the fact of, we should throw it deep every time. Okay, well, you're going to see that a lot, and your $250 million quarterback will not be around. Now, Burrow sees man coverage on this, okay? And I want you to watch him. He's going to give like a touchdown type of look. And you'll see it right here. See that right there? See, he's like doing this. And that's a signal for whatever this is. So he's going to come in and try to pick this guy, and he's going to kind of stutter step and then run that. A lot of people call this a Raven concept, but you're trying to get this guy to come here and to have him peel under so that he's chasing, and you can throw it over the top. And what happens here is you can see they gave him the signal. They all got it out. He comes in, he goes over the top, so it kind of killed that play just a little bit. And you see how he's got it covered. But if he gets him to go underneath, So if you watch, I'll let it pause it right about here. If he comes down in here and gets him to go under and chase, then he's chasing him. He can throw it over the top. But since he goes over, he falls over the top. He's still able to cover, and that's what caused this. And I think Burrow at this point just threw it away. Honestly, I just think he just threw it away. But that was a good look at. That's a good play call. That's a good audible. And again, it's tough. So now I'm gonna move into a more positive, a more positive look here as to what you're dealing with the Bengals offense. There's a guy number 28. Everybody knows my stance on Joe Mixon. I love the kid. I was part of drafting him. I probably said that way too many times. But he's got to be used. I mean, so look here. So this is really just this is just a duo play. But I want you to watch the patience in blocking. So you got here, block down, block out. He's going to push back and almost take this backside. And he's pushing up here. Now watch, this guy's going to kind of play over the top. And he ends up using that block right there. And yeah, it's an 8-yard run. It's an 8-yard run. But I want you to understand, if you run for 8 and then you run for 4, you got a first down. Then you run for 6, and then you run for 5, you got a first down. I hate to tell y'all math, but it only takes 10 yards to get a first down. And when you're averaging 4.8 yards a carry or whatever it was that he averaged, you hand it to him a few times, and then you can still throw the ball. Don't get me wrong, but I want you to look at this. Look at the right here. And then this guy's going to play over the top, and the patience of Joe to be able to make that cut, and then, Simmons falls off and makes a play. Okay, great. Now, this is an RPO read. Really probably should have thrown the RPO because really there's an unblocked linebacker here. I'll explain it to you right here. See how they're blocking out, and there's this guy's running to the flat, and this guy's running like a stick route. Well, when this guy stays in here, really you should throw. If you see that right there, Huggins is wide open, your flat is wide open, but they hand it off. Now this guy's unblocked. Again, a good running back will make things happen. A great running back will say, screw it, give me the ball, I will make this guy miss. And again, so they're blocking out on this guy, they're reading this guy. So you run like a stick and a flat right here. Well, if you watch the way this plays out, again, when this guy plays into the run, I'm not sure why. Maybe it was this guy that spooked him, but you got a wide open receiver right there that probably should be thrown when you've got a guy, unblocked guy. But watch, Joe pushes in behind that and keeps him hidden behind that. That's why running back, if anybody's a running back listening to this show, press the line of scrimmage, press the heels of your linemen, because that causes the linebackers or the safeties to sit back behind them and they get lost. And then you can make your move and accelerate. Like watch the acceleration right here. You see the change right there? Boom, he goes forward, he goes vertical. You know why you go vertical? Where's the end zone? It's up there. If you start running all to the side and doing all that crap, it doesn't get you to the end zone. All right, the end zone's straightforward. See that there's the end zone right there, and for them it's this way. But point being is, you got to know where your end zone is. All right, this is just duo, and this is a great job of sorting this out. I posted this on the Chatterbox Twitter today. But if you watch, they're going to do this, and this is a great job of these two guys sorting this out, because really in all reality, he's thinking he's doubling to him and he's got him man. That's the whole thought process here. But if you watch, they pinched, guard came back, tackle fell off of it, got just enough. Now look at the gap. That's a great job of blocking, and look at the acceleration. Again, 13-yard run. But again, look right here. So if you really go back to the very beginning of this play is meant to be double to him, block here, double to him, and right here, and then boom, you hit it up in there. You're really reading that guy. Well, what happens is when they pinch and that guy runs out, all of a sudden the hole's over here. That's why people, when you're coaching duo or you're running duo, duo can go anywhere. And that's what people have to understand. Look, that's probably what Joe sees first. He's like, man, I'm going to hit that hole right there. And then, there's blue right there. Okay, well, I'm going to go to the next hole. Great job by Orlando Brown. Great job here by Volson of staying on their guys and staying on their tracks and picking up that pinch with the scrape. And then Joe just doing his thing right there. So, again, now last one with Joe. This was an outside zone play. This is I'll get to the end zone of this. This was, I want to talk about the right tackle's block. So we used to run outside zones to the open side. When I say open, there's no tight end right here. We're running, this is called an open side because there's no tight end. This is really an open side too. But when you run it over here, so he's really trying to block this guy on an outside zone angle. Well, look how wide he is. I remember Whitworth, he was on the left side, but he used to tell us all the time, if you got a guy that wide, you just get on him and then everybody else create this and then you run it up inside. So that's kind of what Jonah Williams is doing. He's going to get on this guy. Everybody else is going to run here and try to create angles to get up. So watch Jonah Williams. Jonah Williams look like he's cutting it off. That's by design, okay? That's not like right there. Yes, it's an outside zone, but he's not going to get his head outside of that guy when he's 5 yards wide of him. So these guys push up. Look, you got him hooked. And look at the play right here. That's perfect. And then, boom, you just run up in there, and, yeah, you're on a safety. Boom, make a cut. Here's the thing. If you're one of those people that goes, well, why didn't he cut left? Like, why didn't he cut left right there? There's all that. I'm just going to tell you, like I said, I've played as many snaps of NFL football as my wife. This stuff moves a lot faster than it does when you put it in slow-mo. I'm just telling you, especially when you have the possibility of getting blown up. All right, so right here, like he sees this, and then all of a sudden he sees his hat on the right side. He sees his hat like that. So yeah, he takes it there. All right, and all I'm saying is, people can question that kind of stuff, and it's it is what it is. Now, sacks. Let's talk about some sacks. This is some fun stuff, right? I'm just kidding, guys. All right, so they've got an overloaded front here. Again, this is 3rd and 4. All right, 3rd and 4. Second quarter, 3rd and 3. It's 3-3, so it's still a game here. Got an overloaded front. Got a mugged backer and a DN. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 big guys and a linebacker. And again, what that does to you is it forces your line to have to slide over here, and you end up getting you're trying to get a one-on-one right here is what you're really trying to do. And you'll see here, both pickers come free. So they're going to run a 3-man game, and really it's the penetrators that end up coming free. So what's going to happen is they're going to go here, here, here. But it's really these two guys that are pushing through that end up getting free. And you can see right here, you just got to kind of see how he gets turned. You can't get turned. The worst thing you can do as an offensive lineman, and people always say it's opening the gate, or it's, the cattle are coming through, or whatever the case is. And you just can't do that. And again, I think this is if you want to talk about trying to find an issue with Burrow, I think he sees this in years past, and he starts to kind of move over here. I'm not sure, like, if he's, if he doesn't feel like he can do it, going back and looking at the type of routes you have, it's 3rd and 4, and basically you've got a wrap concept, so it's a high-low. So this guy's sitting low, and he's running a dagger in behind him, and I think he's waiting for this guy to come in, but this guy's sitting there, and if this was him in the past, would have kind of run out. Next thing you know, he runs up the sideline, boom, throws it down the field. So that's kind of where I think you're seeing maybe I don't know. It's just like that's something that could have been different last year or the year before. There's the punt team. I didn't mean for that to get in there, but hey, you get to see the punt team. How about that one? Darren was looking out for you, brother. All right, cross key protection. What does cross key protection mean? Okay, I'll talk about this in just a second, but I want to talk about the route concept. So with this is F shallow cross. You're going to have this guy sitting over the ball, all right, and then you can do different things. You can run post with these guys. But you can see here, they ran goes with both guys on the outside, and then you ran a guy over the top and a guy over here. And here's the thing: you've got a guy open here, you got a guy open here. Problem is he's already on the ground. And let me get through this one. Bengals captain, I see you, brother. But you can see here, this is cross key protection. So when I say cross key protection, you're talking about what's happening is if the back's usually over here, he's usually got this guy and they're sliding this way. All right. Well, what they're doing here is they're cross keying it because they felt like maybe they were getting blitzed the back, which means he's going to blitz the back or whatever the case is. So they're cross keying. So they're actually sliding this way to this guy. 1, 2, and the back actually technically from over here has this guy. And you can see that the way that they set, so they're all set in here, he's got to keep that block. And again, you got guys running around guys, and it's just tough when you, and again, was there supposed to be a chip here? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that there was supposed to be a chip because they are blocking that guy. That's the backs guy. From the way it looks, from everything I'm looking at, this is a cross key protection. Normally, if you're going to set like that as a tackle, you're expecting a chip, which I'll get into in a minute. But right there, I don't know if he's expecting a chip. But y'all wonder why they're not throwing it deep. Okay? I do want to get into Bengals captain, my man. How much of the protection in this game could have been mitigated by Burrow, and what options does he have to do so? So, yes, Burrow has the ability to change protections anytime he wants to. So if just say, for example, we go back to this play that we just showed. He sees 21 outside over here. He could have easily said, hey, guys, I don't know if he did or not. It didn't show on here. He could have easily said, hey, listen, we're going to go left, 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 which means they're going to set over here because they see that guy over there and they don't think this guy's an issue because of maybe you see some rotation here because you kind of see it there, a little bit. Maybe 37's over, maybe he's going back. I haven't watched enough Titans defense other games to know what they're, because you'll watch games and say, okay, I've got so many tendencies you see. But yes, Burrow could change protections as much as he wants. Burrow could change if he wanted to. He could call, I don't know what they call it, but it's basically a full slide protection, and the back comes over here, and he's helping out here, and he helps the tight end out, and it's the 7-man pro. He could call that right now if he wanted to, and they have the ability to do that. Now, did he do it? I don't see it as much as I've seen it in the past. I've seen him do it, but I've even seen him bring Tyler Boyd. Golly, I had a brain fart right there. I've seen him bring Tyler Boyd in and make Tyler Boyd this guy and block a D end. I've seen him do it. So, yes, to answer your question, I think he can do it. I don't think he's necessarily doing it. I don't know if that's the case I'm saying here, but excuse me. But, yes, he has the ability to do that. Moving on to the next one. Now, this one right here, I believe Orlando Brown is setting 100% setting for a chip block. Because if you watch right here, watch Travion Williams. And again, I wanted to go find some old school practice film from Detroit when I was there. But you see how he's set right there, and see how Orlando Brown's got his butt kind of turned? He's expecting that back to go like up through the rib cage. You know what I'm saying? Take some football out of this guy. But if you watch here, he misses him. And again, this is 1-2. I mean, I've seen Joe Burrow 1,000 times feel that right there, take off running over here, and he runs over here and does a loop-de-loo and goes back, and you hit him for a touchdown. So, again, if anything's missing, it's that. Okay, if his calf is holding him back, it's that. I don't think it's necessarily as much pushing off of his leg, but again, if you watch the way, I'm just going to show you this. I will go next week. I'll find some old school film. I couldn't find it, but right there, that's a exposed rib. I'm going to use my red little marker right here. That's an exposed rib right there, and you should take your shoulder up through that rib right there, because here's the thing. He's getting paid a lot of money to come out on that field. I'm not saying go and hurt him, but he chose to be out there, and he chose to rush like that, and they chose to have a chip block. So go take some football out of him and make him not want to rush like that again. That's what your job as the running back is. If you have a chip like that, go make him not want to do that. Make him want to go inside. And again, that's where, those kind of things happen. So he missed it right there, and obviously people are going to give Orlando Brown a lot of grief right there. And I'm just telling you right there, I don't put that necessarily on as much on the tackle as I put it on the running back for having a chip called. And the guy knowing he's got a chip and he missed the chip. I can't tell you how. I was a running back coach for 7 years in the NFL. That would have driven me up a wall, man. I'm just telling you, I would have been all over that guy. And I don't know, man. That stuff makes me mad. Now, here's some things I want to show you. These are quarterback hits and hurries, okay? So I got 5 of these, and what you're going to see here is it's a 9-stop completion to Chase. When I say a 9-stop, he's running a go route. I'm going to take my red back off of here. He's running a go route and he's going to stop. And yes, this is a good play. It's a good play, but I want you to watch from the back end. Okay, good. 11-yard pass or whatever the case is right here. Again, he's setting for a chip. And you can see right there, Joe even tries to get him, but right here, you got to go as close as you can. It's like you got to skim the hip of your tackle. Skim the hip of your tackle with the edge of your shoulder pad and put your shoulder right up through his rib cage right there. And again, I'll say it again, take some football out of him. I saw Jake Lisco say, take some ribs with you. You know what I'm saying? Freaking Montgomery Inn right now. Go to Montgomery Inn and get some ribs. All right, Montgomery Inn, I'm looking at you right now. Now, the next one, cover 0. Miscommunication, big time up front. Guys, do you want to know why they're not? Look at the route combination. Look at the route combination. You got deeper routes. Everybody wanted to talk on this play. I saw Twitter going crazy. I see Jake Lisco in there. I'm sure he probably was talking about it too. Hey, Paula, I will be right to you in just a second because you're actually asking a good question. But everybody was talking about this play and why didn't you throw Chase on the shallow? Why didn't you throw Chase on the shallow? Okay, yeah, he's right there. I want you to look at what he looks like right there. That's why he didn't throw Chase on the shallow. Make sense? Good. Glad I got my point across. He wasn't trying to throw it. He was trying to get that ball out of his hand right there, just to be honest with you. And right there, they probably even thought it was a fumble. But the miscommunication up front right here, it's cover 0. Right? I don't know how they're blocking this, but there's multiple ways to block this front in a cover 0. So I'm going to talk you through a couple ways. Number one is you can put him on him, and you slide everybody back over here, and this guy has that guy. Let's just say that's what they're doing. Well, if that's what they're doing, the tight end's dead wrong. And here you got a guy running through. The other way that you could do it is kind of what I talked about earlier, is you create a 7-man full slide protection here. So you can get a 7-man full slide protection. So from here over, these guys are responsible for gaps. And he's going to set here. He's got him. So really, in all reality, 73 would push through. This tight end would end up on this guy. Yeah, that's not a great look. But he'd push through to him, and they'd keep pushing through. Well, right now, they didn't do that either. And you see what I'm saying? 73 could push through to him. Yeah, that tight end would have the C gap to D gap. That's the C gap. That's the D gap. So if you go back just a touch here, sorry, I'll get it right there. I swear to you, I'll get it. But you can see that's A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap. So he'd have the B gap, he'd have the A gap, he'd have the backside A gap, the backside B gap, backside C gap. He'd have this C gap, which would end up being that guy, and he'd be blocking him. And then you might be able to get that throw off. But again, when you're trying to max protect, that was max protection, guys. That was 7-man protection. I mean, I know there's 8-man protection, but 8-man protection is crazy max protection. And I do want to go back to Miss Paula here. How can the Bengals offense find a way to throw the ball deep? without getting Burrow hit too many times? Great question. One of the things I would say is this, is you got to do max pro, and you got to hope that your dudes on the outside win. Or my thing is this, move the pocket naked. The guy can still move enough to run a naked. It's not, nakeds are not where he's scrambling for his life. You run a naked and set it to where you have a tight end to, let's just say you want to naked it this way. I know the back would be over here going this way, but have a tight end in here to secure the turn. So he secures the edge right here, and maybe even tell him he's not getting out, and then you can run nakeds or whatever the case is and get him kind of over here to where these guys aren't just rushing right at him. The other thing you can do is obviously play action. You start getting some hard play actions. I know they're not getting under center, but Joe Mixon's been running some pretty damn good runs from the gun. Run your good runs from the gun, and then have him play action some, maybe just a little deep. It doesn't have to be a deep throw. It could be just a crossing route with a post, and this guy running a dagger in behind. And right now, I mean, all you got to do is let's say he faked this way, he's in the flat right here. Whatever the case is, I'm just pointing that out. But there's ways to use the running game to create better protection to throw the ball deep. So that's my answer. Paula, thank you for the question. Again, I'm looking here real quick through the chat. Y'all are talking about tight ends and stuff. Our running backs aren't picking up blocks very well at all. I mean, I wouldn't say that. They missed a couple chips. But they're kind of, again, you gotta have the whole thing working together. Now this one, I sent this to a couple people. I don't know if anybody's watching that I sent it to. But you got the circle button on the PlayStation or whatever, and the running back comes up here and does a little spin move or whatever. Well, I want you to watch the circle button done right here. When you get the head slap, really the shoulder slap, he's slapping his shoulder. Watch the circle button happen to the right guard. And that's how you get hit again. Now, look, he completed this pass. This pass is completed. But again, your quarterback's on his ass back here in the back of the end, or in the front of the end zone. And it's just because, are you setting him properly? This is basically a 3-step drop. This is not like it's some 5-7 step drop. Bam. You got a free runner at your legs. And God bless the number 93 for this guy, because obviously Cleveland a few years ago would have taken the knee out right here, same spot. But, right here, boom. You can't be giving up those many hits, or that many hits. Now, again, the right guard, I believe it's Kappa, is going to be on skates right here. And you lost your base, and it caused a bad throw. Now, if you look at the route combination here, this is really, you've got some deeper routes. You do. You have some deeper routes right here. This is not like it's some chump route. I mean, you got some intermediate routes that you can get the ball out to. But if you watch this from the back, when he sets, you'll watch his feet will get off levels with each other, and that's one of the worst things you can do. See how he's look at that base. You have no base, and now this guy gets his hands inside and pushes him back, and now he starts walking back. You'll see him start walking back here, and right there, it's just it causes Burrow to try to get rid of the ball. So now this is a hug blitz. Okay, we talk about trying to throw the ball deep. I want you to watch a route combination. Deep, cross, route. Those are deep route combinations. All right. They're trying to get the ball deep, but what are they doing? You can get upset about, the play calling or whatever it is, but what are they trying to do here? This is first play of the second quarter. I want you to watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 8 blockers. 8. Now, because the right tackle got up and undered so bad, Mixon decided, hey, I've got to get the play started. Well, here's the problem. You've got a man coverage, a man blitz going on here. Sorry, kick back to the other play there. The guy that's covering Mixon right here, this guy. When Mixon has to block this guy because he comes underneath, this guy just adds on, and that's the guy that ends up hitting Burrow. And again, that's 8-man protection, and I mean, you're getting your quarterback's arm hit, and this was one I think they said was a, basically an incomplete pass, but I think they had to go back and review it. But you see how Mixon gets eaten up right here, and I see, hey Jake, I see what you're saying. Tight end's doing nothing. I mean, the problem is though, you don't know that when you call the play. I think that's the biggest issue is there's a lot of other film that these guys are watching, and you base protections on what you've seen in situations, and there are times where you need to have those guys, yes, but then they call it. It's like anything else. You don't know what they're calling on defense, and yes, there's not but you'd like for him to like leak out or something, go be a check down. But again, when they called it, that wasn't in the plan to have him go underneath and have the back get taken up and him not blocking anybody. The plan was maybe this guy adding on because it's man coverage, and this guy, him just sitting there. Yeah, that's not great, but they were probably thinking he was going to add on. They weren't expecting him to come flying through. They were thinking Joe would come through here and then somebody go cover him and he'd be in the flat. That's what they were thinking. And again, when stuff like that happens and your quarterback gets hit like that, that's why they're not throwing the ball deep. If you really want to know why they're not throwing the ball deep, that's why they're not throwing the ball deep. Hey, Bengals captain, man, appreciate you, brother. How often does Burrow have a choice between run and pass? It's not always either or, right? Light boxes. I haven't seen as much RPO, if you want to be honest. Like last year, I saw a lot of RPO where they had like some slants and shins, like 5-yard ends, and some different glance routes, like some quick post routes and things like that. I saw that last year. I haven't seen a lot of that this year. And he doesn't seem to be wanting to get the ball out of his hand as fast as he used to. Go back and watch the New Orleans game from last year, and he threw an RPO to his right to Tyler Boyd, and it looked like he was turning too. I mean, it was as fast of a getting rid of the ball as I've seen, and maybe it's something to do with that. I wouldn't say that they're like calling plays. Now, have they had double calls? I'm sure they have, where he comes up and he says, all right, I'm going to look up here, and we got 6 blockers. We got a 6-man box. We're running the ball, or if there's 7 guys, hey, can, or kill, or alert, or however they do it, and all that. But I would say this. I think what they're doing is trying to call the play without having to make that decision. They're trying to pre-snap make the decision and say, all right, we're gonna make it look like this, but we're really throwing this, or we're gonna make it look like this and we're running this. And I think it's more of instead of giving him the choice and the options, they're trying to manipulate it as they go. And that is some play calling issues right there. If you want to call it play calling issue, I can see where they're coming from totally, but at the same time it doesn't help. Now, this is Burrow not being himself. All right. If you look at the bottom, it says Burrow isn't himself. So this is the first play of the game. First play of the game. And this is a stick concept. So he's going to run a stick. He's running a flat. And you'll see he wants to throw it. And I think a lot of other times he throws that ball in this area right here, and Huggins catches it and turns up, and it's a good play. He sees this guy, and I don't know if it's just like the fear of not getting the ball to. I don't know what it is, but this doesn't seem like a normal Burrow type of play. Because look right here, it's a quick fake, and like this is not a run, guys. This is a straight up pass, because you can see him but look, you can see him like it's there. You know what I'm saying? And first play of the game. First play. So whether or not I just don't, something ain't right with that. This is tight red zone brackets. Okay. So when I say that, you've got 3 over 2. There's your 2. You've got 4 over 3 right here. And right here, you've got these 2 guys, and I'll show you what they're running here. I believe they're just running a double slant right here. See, they're just running like a double slant right here. Well, you're running double slant into three guys right here, where in all reality, you're running more of a pivot concept. And what this is down here is kind of a snag 7 flat. They're here, and he's kind of, it's not really the true snag, but then he's coming underneath. So it's like it's a version of that. And if you look at I feel like if you go, I keep bringing up the New Orleans game for some reason. I was at the New Orleans game. Maybe that's why I was there. But if you remember, they put Joe Mixon. I believe they motioned Joe Mixon out here in the New Orleans game last year. And bam, he came underneath. I think this is the exact same play. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the exact same play that they ran. I'll have to go back and look at it. But right there, I mean, you got that right there. And it's one of those things where, I just think I'm not sure he's reading things out as good as he can. Now, I see Jake mention this, and this was the next thing I was going to say. You see that right there? There's this thing called duck, duck. Okay? I'm going to let this kind of marinate for a minute. I'm going to ask y'all in the chat, why would I call this duck, duck? Okay? He would run up here and pop the center on the butt and go right here. How many times have you seen Tom Brady do that? Okay? Again, I'm asking y'all in there, why is it called duck, duck? Why would I say duck, duck? But look, that's a lot of space right there. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys right there. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5. I mean, not a whole lot of stuff there. If he is a mobile quarterback, there is somebody right there. There's somebody in there. Or the D linemen are in a different position. You do not put a 4 technique and a wide 3 technique in here with nobody else there. And nobody in the chat wants to answer my question about the duck, duck, because it's called duck, duck because he's going to say duck, duck, duck. And he's going to go up and he's going to goose the center. Y'all play duck, duck, goose. Come on now. So you go up and you duck, duck, you goose the center, and you go running. So that's what duck, duck is. So there you go. Jess got it. I see you. All right. Jess from Tigers Talk. You'll need to go watch Tigers Talk. All right. Look it up. Right here. But again, Jake makes a good point right there. But that's something you don't see versus a mobile quarterback. But that's why, again, how can you play 3-over-2 and 4-over-3? Because you can leave the middle open. Look, there's nobody in there. You know what I'm saying? That's how you can do that. And that's how teams can minimize and negate the talent that the Bengals have on the field right now. And that's, again, Burrow not being himself. Duck, duck, go. Come on, Thom. Duck, duck, goose. Duck, duck, goose. I'm with you, Thom, though. I appreciate you being here. All right, last one I got here is, I think everybody saw this throw. I think this still should have been a completed pass. Really, this is a Tampa 2 beater. It's a cover 2 beater in all reality. Looks like they're running, like they're setting him here. They're going to set him down here. They're running goes here. Since it's cover 2 and you got 2 high safeties, so I'll use my red one here. You got 2 high safeties. The middle is open right here. Yeah, you got a Tampa guy running with him, and Tampa means you got a defender that kind of goes and plays the middle third out of a cover 2 look. So in all reality, he ends up kind of back there. But what they're doing is probably what is a double or middle call, and he runs up here, and if it was to be 1 high, he would actually run across the field like this. But since it was 2 high, since right now you've got 2 high safeties, he's going to run and take this middle right here, and that's where you want to throw the ball. But I want you to watch right here. Like, he does, see how he's falling backwards? It's kind of hard to see, but he's falling backwards. And now the ball's there. Don't get me wrong. This is a nice throw, but if you look right here, see how he's kind of falling backwards? And then I know he's got people in his face. Don't get me wrong. But I've seen him push into these things and throw. And it hits him in the hands. And again, should this ball have been caught? I'd say probably, but again, these are NFL players making NFL plays, and the last I checked, that guy number 83 has made a ton of plays for the Bengals, and that's a tough one to sit here and beat him up on. But that's why they threw the right down the middle of the field, because you have Tyler Boyd on a linebacker, And again, I think that's a pretty good throw, but you could see possibly not really stepping into his throws as well as he can do in the past. You know, there's there's something about the offense that's a little off. I get it. But if they'll get the running game going and get the play actions going off of it, possibly some nakeds, you could run outside zones with Mixon like they've been doing and then run the naked off of it. And all he's got to do is half roll. You don't even have to roll him all the way out. He's not like he's trying to outrun anybody. Put a tight end in there, block it up so that he can get turned and then do that. And it's it's kind of it's a give or take. And again, you got to be able to adjust and adapt as a play caller. Looking forward to this week now. The Bengals traveled to the 1-3 Cardinals. The Cardinals somehow or another beat the Cowboys, or got me on how they do that. But they really, I believe the New York Giants had one of the biggest comebacks in a while against them too. So the Giants didn't score anything in the first half, and in the second half, the Cardinals kind of fell apart. But last week they got beat pretty handily in San Francisco, which I think a lot of teams are going to do recently this year. So they got beat 35-16. Cardinals are averaging 22 points a game. So again, that's with Josh Dobbs. That's not with Kyler Murray. So if you're talking about Josh Dobbs, you're talking about a guy who has a decent arm, but also doesn't really have that, this great arm, or, he can run the ball, but I think they're going to run the ball. They got James Conner. James Conner's doing a good job. They're averaging 194 yards through the air and 143 on the ground. That's a lot of yards on the ground. So the Bengals better get their stuff together on defense to get the tackling ready for this game. And the Arizona defense, though, on the other hand, giving up 25.5 points a game. So they're giving up an average of 4.4 on the ground, which I think if they take advantage of that with Joe and the line and get the play actions going, going to Arizona is a little different. I've been out there a few times, and it's a weird trip because you are I believe they're on West Coast time still, but you go out there and it's in the desert, and then you go into the dome, and you got grass inside the dome, and I mean it's just a different feel out there, and it's a pretty cool place to play. And I think a lot of Bengals fans have probably been out there, and it's one of those things where I think they just gotta go out and be them. If they just go out and just do their job, and hopefully Burrow's getting more healthy, and we'll see what happens. But I appreciate you guys in the chat. I know you guys. I know a lot of you guys and I think that's really cool that that you guys come out and do this with us. Bengals captain. Miss Paula, going back here, make sure I didn't miss anybody here. I mean, I really appreciate y'all joining, and especially the super chats. You guys are awesome. You guys, the support you guys are giving us out there. Please put the word out for Chatterbox Clicker. You can find us on Chatterbox Sports, YouTube. You can find me at Coach Kyle Caskey, and you can find me on any social media with that. Would love to have you guys come follow. Please, like our page, subscribe, and then interact. If you have questions throughout the week, please drop them in, on X, I guess formerly known as Twitter. Come in the chat, and I'll do my best to catch up to everybody. And I really appreciate you guys. So with that being said, we're going to call it a night here, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday, hopefully talking about a Bengals victory at Arizona. So next Tuesday, 9 p.m., same place, same time. We'll see you then.